approvals, it'll tell you we're going live. And coming over here and get all the little technical parts set up. Oh, I'm so excited you're on the Faster class. And we will be live on Facebook in 3, 2, 1. Hi, Facebook. Adam Bricker here from Adam Connects, and I am excited to bring you this live Facebook version of Faster Class behind the scenes. Our featured guest today is Karen Strauss, and Karen is an expert. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Adam.
Karen's an expert when it comes to making authors bestsellers. We just attended her collaboration class, so she's got a great project teaching people how to do collaborative books. But what I'm going to do at this moment, Karen, is I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the Adam Connects audience.
Awesome. First, I want to thank you for inviting me. This is a real honor and a pleasure to be in your community. So I've been in publishing, well, let's say I admit to 35 years. It may be a little longer than that. And worked at Random House, Macmillan and Crown. So my vetting is in traditional publishing. But in 2011, I actually created and was the founder of Hybrid Global Publishing, which is a hybrid publisher. It's a fairly new way of publishing for coaches and entrepreneurs and independent authors. It's a fantastic way to publish books, which we can talk about at another time. But I have so far published over 500 authors and books and made 400 of them best-selling titles. So we know how to do this. We know how to publish fast, and we want to help you publish books and get your message out before it's too late.
All right, you heard her right here. Get your message out before it's too late. Become a best-selling author, like over 400 titles so far coming under Karen. Karen, what are some of the types of authors that you look at to publish?
So we have a little bit of a sweet spot. We do nonfiction mostly, although we have done a number of memoirs and some fiction. But our sweet spot is really business, self-help, personal development, wellness, people who are coaches, who have maybe a program or a mastermind or a course, and they don't quite know how to gather all of their content and then put it into book form. There seems to be almost people get a little paralyzed when they talk about the writing form, and they get a little bit intimidated. And so we make sure that you have an experience so that you're not intimidated. And so we help you write your book and get it out and promote it. And there you are.
Outstanding. We're behind the scenes at making a Faster Class with Karen Strauss. And one of the things we always ask people to do is hire experts. Hire the expert. So if you're a coach, if you are teaching a course, if you have a program that's in place and or developing, and you'd like to have a book to go with that, you should have a book. You need to have a book to go with that. And you want that book to be a bestseller. We have expert on with us, Karen Strauss. Karen's out of New York City, and she's joining us today. Are there any trade secrets? It's funny. I speak like a radio person. You write like a writer. I want to get my grammar correct with you. Are there any special techniques or trade secrets that you use that gives a author an advantage over self-publishing?
Sure. We encourage our authors to work with our developmental editors. And developmental editors are people who work with you to take your content and help you to develop that all-important outline. That outline is your GPS system. I would not think about getting in my car and driving across country without a GPS system. I don't think I would go to New Jersey without a GPS system, let alone cross country. So that's the equivalent. In a book form, you need an outline, and you don't always know how to do that yourself. And so you're better off. We find that working with a developmental editor expedites the process, and takes all of your content, which might be a blog, or it might be a Facebook Live, or it might be a mastermind or a class of some sort, and then or a speech that you've given in a summit or a conference. And you take all of that stuff and repurpose it into one book. And so a developmental editor is going to help you develop all of that content into one coherent book. So that's a very key thing for us, that certainly self-publishing could never help you do that.
You know, it's funny. I spend most of my time in marketing and bringing people's business and service and courses to the marketplace. And one thing I always tell people is have somebody on the outside put your marketing together, because whenever somebody is doing it for themselves, they leave holes. They leave holes all through the process. In both Karen and the audience, you need to know this. Those holes are automatically filled in, but you know the information. You don't see the holes. The holes are oblivious to you. So same thing with a book. If you are created a course, you've done live presentations, you've been on stage, you have all your material together, get a developmental editor to work with you to present it in a way that's digestible for the audience. How does that help them become more popular and become a bestseller?
So it helps because, first of all, you want a coherent book. So because your book is your brand, your book is it represents who you are. And so what you want is to make sure, first of all, you have to know your why. Why are you even writing this book, publishing this book, right? So, and if you skip that step, you're probably going to not have a book, let alone a best-selling book, because you're not going to know why you're even doing this in the first place. So that's very important. And then the second thing is identify who your key audience is. And I always like to define who is my ideal reader, who's going to be my evangelical fan that's going to help me actually promote my book everywhere. So you need to identify that person, up to what do they wear? What do they eat? What magazines? What TV shows? Like, who are they? Are they middle-aged women, or are they young men? And to define it as specific as possible. So I like to coach my clients, my authors. You're going to speak to that one person.
Wow.
And if you speak to that one person, you're never going to get it wrong, because you have that avatar, that clarity in your head the whole time, who you're writing for.
That's spectacular. We teach the same thing in marketing. So there's a clear interlace between the two. I got a question from the audience. Before we record the faster class, you game for answering one question, and I don't know if it applies to you. But if you help people with the audio version of their book, are you recommending that they do that themselves, or they hire a professional for their audio book?
So that's a great question. And we do audio. We work with a professional partner who actually does that. So I actually am a great believer in authors actually recording it themselves, unless for whatever reason you have a weak voice or there are mitigating circumstances. The key thing is having the right equipment. And that's what our partner helps with in consulting with you. You can't just have a regular computer with maybe a Zoom. You need special equipment for the audio to come out perfect. And so that's where you need to hire professionals, is to help you with the back end and the tech end. But I'm a big fan of authors recording their own books.
Outstanding. Outstanding. You heard it here. Adam Bricker, Faster Class Behind the Scenes with Karen Strauss, the bestseller maker. She says you need to know your why. You do. You need to identify your audience all the way down to what they wear and where they might be going on Restaurant Week in New York City. And if you're doing an audiobook, which you should do an audiobook, recording it yourself in your own voice is great if you have the right equipment and the right person guiding you to do that.
Right. And then work with a professional in editing. You shouldn't do the editing yourself. You need to hire a professional to help you do that.
I posted it on Facebook. That would be a developmental editor.
For writing books. That's right. Developmental editor. Right. An editor for audiobooks is more like splicing and dicing, to put it all together. So that's more of a tech person.
Thanks for the clarity. Yeah, the developmental editor is for creating your book. Absolutely. Correct. I thought that was great. I thought that was the one nugget that would move somebody from, all right, do I do self-publishing, professional? But you can get a developmental editor. Yeah, let's go ahead and hire Karen to do that. Cool. Before we go in there, any details that you would like to share on how to get in contact with you? Keep in mind, we're going to put everything in the links down below to make it easy for everyone.
Oh, great. Sure. You can go to my website, hybridglobalpublishing.com. And do you want me to post the, calendar links or anything like that?
You can go back and do it on.
I'll go back and do it.
Once the live is there. For the masterclass video, we'll take care of all that for you. So don't worry about that. As a matter of fact, are you ready to record the masterclass?
I'm ready to go.
All right. The reason we're here, we're going to end up with a faster class. It's a 2-minute class that delivers one golden nugget on how you can become a best-selling author. It's going to work this way, Karen. I'm going to hit the record button. I'll count you down to it. When I hit the record button, it's going to give a prompt on your screen that you have to approve.
Okay.
Once you approve that, it's still going to have my face on the screen. So you need to make one sound first. I recommend people take a nice deep breath. And then it'll switch to you. If not, you can count down and give yourself a 3, 2, 1 and go in it that way. But a nice deep breath will switch the camera back to you. You have 2 minutes to deliver that message, that powerful message, the key to bestseller status. All right, quiet on the set, stand by. We will be recording Faster Class episode 34 featuring Karen Strauss in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hi, everybody. My name is Karen Strauss. I'm the founder of Hybrid Global Publishing, and this is my Faster Class. So we're talking about the nugget, the key to bestseller, but I'm actually going to give you three for the price of one. So in order to have a bestseller, you need to do 3 things. One is have an editor, particularly a copy editor. If you're going to spend some money, we talked earlier about a developmental editor, but a copy editor is someone who does grammar and spelling and syntax. And again, your book is your brand. And so you don't want to go out with a book with spelling errors because you will get screwed 9 times out of 10 by reviews and so on and so forth. And so you need to hire a really good editor. Number 2, you need to spend money on a good cover because a cover is worth 1,000 words. That really is true. And so people will have a visceral response, a reaction to what your cover looks like. So you need to put some thought into what kind of emotion you actually want people to feel. And the only way to do that is to work with a professional book cover designer. The third thing, and this is the technical thing, if you really want to be a bestseller on Amazon, you need to pay attention to what the competitive titles are. What are your competitive and comparative titles? Go look on Amazon and look in your genre, your category, and then keep checking the categories. And it's a little bit technical, but you need to define at least, you actually get 10 categories to choose from, which nobody really knows about. So the idea to be a bestseller is to choose categories that match your book, but also can be easier to get to number one in the bestseller list. So there's an algorithm. You need reviews for that algorithm, but you also need to choose your categories very carefully. And there's a science to that on how you choose the categories. So I don't know how many. So this is Karen. This is my faster class.
Outstanding.
I don't know how long that was. I wasn't seeing a clock.
Yeah, no, you're perfect. You're perfect. It was 2 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. I've heard people comment that the faster classes get your gold nugget in under 2 minutes. Well, most of our classes are between 2 minutes and 10 seconds and 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And I think you're about 2:22 or something in there. Absolutely great. You squeezed in 3 for the price of 1. I love the last one, the hire the experts. People, if you knew how much pressure it takes off of you when you have a professional like Karen behind you, it just makes life so much easier. Like for Karen's interview today, she didn't know how we did 8 or 9 different things, but it's fine. She doesn't need to. She's here for her expertise. So when you hire her, she's not going to do everything to make your book come to life. She's going to do all the things she does as a professional, help you become a best-selling author. This is great. Hey, you know what? One last thing. I know you had a big class the past couple of weeks with Mark Porteous with regards to collaborative authoring. Would you speak on that real quick before we wrap everything up?
Sure. So my training was on actually, if you want to host a collaboration book, and Mark and I are talking about being in a collaboration book. So, and just very quickly, a collaboration book is a multiple authored book and then some people call it an anthology, and it's based on a theme. And so the lead author, the person who's actually organizing and getting all the authors together, they decide what theme you want to do it. Mark's is on soul leadership, and what that means and what that entails. Other people have done what it's like to be visible. What was my first time on stage? What did that look like? What mistakes did I make? What obstacles did I have to overcome while creating my business? So on and so forth. So the collaboration for the lead author, for the host, really is designed to help elevate your brand and your authority, and to grow your community and to help them bond.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. So if you want to put together a collaboration book, it's one of the hottest things in the marketplace right now. It uses collaboration, which is, I'm a huge fan. Karen understands the publishing side of it. There's special scenarios where you can have multiple covers featuring different authors. Check in with Karen. All of our connection information is going to be down below or in part of the faster class. Oh, I'm so honored that you are on with me today. I've been watching you for a while, reading some of your bestsellers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Adam. It was an honor to be here. I'm a great admirer of your work as well. So I can't wait for us to collaborate. Besides this, beyond this.
You got it. You got it. Oh, I'm thrilled. Thanks to everybody who tuned in. This is Adam Bricker. This has been Faster Class Behind the Scenes, the making of Faster Class, with featured guest Karen Strauss. Thanks, Karen. And thanks everybody for tuning in. Bye-bye now.